All right. So we have this map, and on this map there's 3 cutoffs. It's literally 3 points where you can get cut. And those are those 3. So Falco plays only on this angle. That's all he's playing on. He's covering nothing else, and he doesn't manage to get this. If we get this, it doesn't matter because it's just a VP and there are 3 VPs in the game. So now let's say this is the yellow player. This is Falco here. This is Falco. This is me. I have to play on this. Actually, this is not a cutoff, but this is the cutoff, my bad. This is not a cutoff. Right. So I have to play on both 3 points here at very least. Why is it not? I want my pen, yes. Yeah, not this one. Dude, why can I? Oh, this one, okay. So, right, I have to play on those 3 points, and I have to hold them all. The yellow guy in this scenario has only to hold those 2 points. It's very too easy to defend this, because he only has to play in this area. That's like a perfect scenario where you can hold your fuel, right? It's a perfect scenario. This is a huge part of the map to cover. This is a small part of the map to cover. And my opponent, who's let's say orange, right? All he has to do is, he doesn't have to cover anything. He doesn't have to cover anything. He just walks here, here, or here. And because I'm so distracted with holding this huge area, it's hard to hold that much at the same moment, especially in the early game when you play against the Cube. You're just running from this to this. He only has to send always 1 unit to one of his points to cut yourself off. And because I'm just running from A to B to C to B to A again, right? Or you just send 3 units on 1 point, you force 1 unit away, and then you force the entire side away. You cannot defend this. This is pretty much undefendable, such a scenario. It's very hard to defend. And since for him it's too easy to cut and I cannot get the 3 points because it's too much to hold, he can just get everything uncontested. And plus this is automatically defended. Because nobody is contesting the third cutoff. And that's a huge issue. So what you have to do here, as this player is, you have to either you succeed like this player, like orange, and you contest 3 cutoffs. There's 2 ways, like you either contest 3 cutoffs successfully like him, and by the pressure going on this cutoff, you can force this guy to defend it, and then you put down pressure from this area, and then you can hold it. Or you hold the enemy fuel. It's the second scenario. You hold the enemy fuel, and the blue player here, which is me, just plays middle. Then you just play on this triangle here. This cutoff, middle, and here supporting. You can play on this triangle. But then you need this fuel. And we could have never gotten this fuel. And the reason is because this guy only has to defend those 2 points from the very beginning, locks them down, and puts here his ambulance. Tier 1. So it's very hard to take this. Unless you have like penal build or something. And you can like destroy the tier 1. Or like double Brit with like gammon bombs or something. Then you can break through with WS. You won't be breaking this. So this doesn't work. And yeah. The other scenario is when you cannot manage to get this. When you cannot manage to get this because it's impossible, like in the game we had before, what you have to do as a green player is just to play this area only. You have to play through this area here. I guess we better move everything, I guess, or a bit. Right? What do you have to do? Because you cannot get this. Because you have the wrong setup in the beginning. It's impossible to play with the enemy fuel. Then you have... Wait, let me explain. Then you have to play... It's the really worst case. When you cannot pressure this, it's a really bad case on the map. It's... You have to be able to pressure this. It's most important on this map that you manage to pressure this area. It's the most important thing. Like from the very beginning, you have to succeed as pressuring this. Usually, that's the challenge of the map. And it's actually not that hard to do because you cannot defend all three. And even if you cannot, I mean, you just have to try it. Even when you sometimes just get a unit here in the middle, you force this player off going here. You force him off going here. And this means you automatically hold this. That's why you always have to play like this. And what you have to do is this player here, because the map is very wide, you always play through the middle. So this player always plays this way. Always this way. And by like pressuring this cutoffs, actually this is also not a cutoff, those two cutoffs, or you can test with just one unit this cutoff. By just going this way, you take off lifting from this side. And it's easier to hold this. That's how you do it on this map. And once you contest those, and you succeed in like pushing this way and like putting the lifting of the game into this area, you will automatically hold the ammunition. Because it's like how this guy hold the ammunition. How did this guy hold the ammunition? I can never touch the ammunition because he just taps 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. It's undefendable. So he automatically holds the ammo. And you have to do here the same. And even if you sometimes do not hold the ammunition, when you go through the middle and you reach this point, it's a high threat for this player to lose units on the retreat. So he has to back off. And then what you do is you get the enemy fuel, the enemy ammunition. That's how it works. This is a chaotic map. It's a huge map. And you have to play here flexible. And especially always on big maps, you can never just play when there's multiple cutoffs and you're the teammate of the fuel side, you can never just play only this area of the map. This area of the map was played by Falco. And what is this area of the map? This is like 25%, right? It's not more. Well, I have to hold the fuel by multiple cutoffs. No, it's not about 3v3. It's the same issue with Belgorod. I can show the exact same scenario on Belgorod. This is just how this game works. Often maps work like this, more or less. But on this map, it's the worst. Maybe. And if you don't understand this, then you will always lose on this map. I mean, you often, what is very unique on this map often is that you have to play very different. Often on this map, you will have scenarios that, let's say yellow, blue. I want to show that again. It's orange, right? Often on this map, when you're in this area, this is the hardest spawn, especially when yellow is OKW, this side becomes very hard to hold. And then you can go with the strategy that this guy plays this part of the map, and you hold here the fuel. This is like the defense line. And green just plays through the middle. Like this. While this player plays like this. You can play like this on the map. There's two ways. But you always have to stick together. You never play on the edges of a map. You can play like that. But as I said, the big issue is when this guy already easily sets up his tier 1 here and you play US, you cannot do that. It's too hard to do. It's too far. It's undefendable at this point against OKW. I don't know how it is in Tony right now, which side is XZ, but if here's OKW and you have like whatever here, Brit maybe can do it with a sword section, but like Soviet or US, we're doomed. And in most of the map, it works like this. That's how you always play. You have the same issue on Ethelbruck to some degree. You always have to go behind. You always play for the middle, you threaten the behind, so this guy has to retreat. This is how you do it. And also on this map, you can on top threaten this cutoffs. And so you will hold the ammunition. But you don't play like this, fail on this, and continue going like this. You don't do that. This is a death sentence to play like this, and this is how Falco played. And even if I go here through the middle, which I tried in the end out of desperation, it doesn't work. Because he cannot hold it, because here's the tier 1. Schweren cutoff. You know, when you already have a game where someone puts the Schweren cutoff, then you did something wrong. And then you should double focus the Schweren. But this is very much about the first minutes in the game, how you play. And on Belgrade, right, here we got Belgrade, right? Say he's green and blue. Yellow, orange. So how you play on this map is... Blue guy is very locked on this. But you cannot hold against a good player. You can never defend both of this, the cutoff and the fuel. It's like very big part of the map to defend. The strategy of the yellow player is always to play on this cutoff, right? Plus holding the fuel. Like you can bow both ways, and this guy also can bow both ways. Like the orange player is always gonna contest this and this. And it's too far to separate the units to hold both. So when the green player plays only on this, then you will lose. Because the yellow player will just defend here very close to base, so he has a short retreat. Meanwhile, he can send units here, cutting off the other guy, or like going behind this guy. And then they can also get this fuel. And to sum it up, if you then like go that offensive in this moment and take the enemy fuel because this guy abandons this way, then it will like boomerang at you back because they will both flank you. So you always have to play as the off guy here. You always have to go through the middle as well. It's most important that you always keep this safe. And if it means you get doubled by the orange guy, then it is what it is. But it gives you stability on the map. When you play here, you will have the fuel always, because this guy can focus on holding the fuel, can bash him back. When you get doubled by the orange guy here as the green guy, the blue guy can help you confidently in defending. And then you can build up like a strong line here and push this way. Once you have like pushed back the orange guy, you can go together there, for example. But yeah, when you play like the far player here only, and you only cover this part of the map, it's the same like on the other map. You cover 25% of the map. And this guy is gonna get lost at holding this alone, and he cannot hold it alone. It's similar like Vinikendonk and Belgorod. Like both of those maps have this issue. I mean, on Vinikendonk it's worse, but it's exactly the same issue. Like on Vinikendonk, and even Eindhoven has this to some degree. And it's the same actually on Elst also to some degree. Like in that game I had today with Young Rutra, right? He also played a lot on Elst on my cutoff. Because it's hard, because it's far, so it's hard to hold. So what you do on Elst is also you play through the middle as the side guy, you just hold the house, you hold the VP. You contest the enemy fuel, you play through the middle, you secure the cutoff, and you push on the enemy cutoff. That's how you always play as the contester. You always save the cutoff slightly and contest the other 2 points. If you just go greedy and you just play on the far edge of the side from your fuel mate, and you only try contesting the enemy fuel, it's not gonna work. Unless your enemy is so retarded and only camps there at the fuel and never contests, and the other guy is also retarded of the enemy team and never contests the cutoff, then it works. But this is how this game works. And if you don't learn this, and if you don't play like this, then you will always fail against players who know how the game works, and especially against teams, because every team which is good plays like this. And this is really the basics of 2v2. But when you, I don't know, when you never play good arranged, or you play too much random and you get greedy, then you know, you won't get it done. And that's how come that someone like Falkevin claims you cannot hold the fuel. You never can hold the fuel like this. I mean, everyone can hold the fuel like this against a bad player, but you won't ever hold the fuel against a good player. Like, Stoof is not retarded. He knows how to play Vinikendonk on 3 cutoffs. It's undefendable against someone who knows this. Someone who like divides his units well, it's undefendable when you're left alone, covering 80%, like 75% of the map. It's not defendable. Doesn't matter. Map. Okay, Eindhoven. So, like, north side is a lot stronger on this map. The reason is that there's a huge green cover line in the castle, where like there is this green cover line, and then there's this, and there's this, and this little dot here. When you're this player, you can always go through here unpunished on the green cover. So it's easy to cut this off. Also, when you play this line, since this is always hidden and it's hard to get wiped here, like if this guy wants to help here flanking, there's no side. So you can basically not wipe stuff here and flank and get wipes and punish like when you overextend. You cannot do that on the blue guy. And what you do here as well is, the blue guy just always plays on this cutoff, or like contests here the fuel. So you can always go around and you basically don't really get punished retreating because there's the side blockers here. So even though this cutoff is like very close, there's still the issue here with this map. Yep, and this guy has it quite easy, sort of. There's always green cover here, so it's easy to defend this here and there. And you have his cutoff as well. And on the other hand, if you try on this map to go this far, and like going on this fuel or playing on this cutoff, and you succeed on this, all you have to do is from the blue side is you go behind this and you wipe everything. Because there's no side protection here. Like where you can go wherever you want into this, sort of. The retreat path when you're on the fuel is always here, and the last side protection is here. So you can full scale wipe everything as the blue guy going through the middle. And since it's so hard to hold this corridor as the orange guy, it's hard to go to the middle and intercept the blue guy as well. This is why this map is unbalanced. So the best you can do is the red guy is sort of also to go through this and trying to cut this far off. And on top, like, contest this. This is the only way how you can play this from this side. But still, the unbalance of this map remains with the side blockers here. That you can just retreat from the fuel sort of unpunished. You can only punish in this. And this is like very far. And it's very easy for this guy to help this out here. And give me green. Oh. Doesn't want. Yeah, fresh paint. Yeah. And this is why also you have to sort of play through the middle. And playing through the middle like this prevents this guy from being successful on this. If you like scout this, you need to bring out like the side here as the player here. So the orange guy who's playing here gets the information when the blue guy comes here. So he can prepare defending this. It's really important to have that knowledge here. And then you have a chance on this map holding this, even though you have a disadvantage. And then you can maybe get this far off VP, which is super hard to get because, as I said, once you go here and you try to get your VP, this guy just walks here and you're done. So you really need this guy here in the middle. And you also go here, but he only contests with like one unit or something. And when the green guy goes like full scale, like trying to whatever, focus your stuff here. I don't know. Then, yeah. Once like this guy goes full scale this way, then you just have to punish going through this side. You get with one unit the cutoff. And in case this guy here is overextending, right, then you full punish. And going into his retreat. Like it's in 2v2 team play and playing together and coordinating, reading the map. And taking the right decisions is really important. But if you have a teammate, like the red guy here, if the red guy is like this guy who only plays those 2 points, and he only covers like this part of the map, he covers what, 30%? he covers when he only goes this way. It makes it super predictable for the green guy to camp here. Right? Yeah. I don't know why green is so busted. Whatever, it makes it super easy for the green guy to defend here in the green cover. Also, this is never threatened, and so he can also obtain the VP and he can punish you going on this. And in the worst case, what happens when this guy plays on this 30%, like Falcon Winnikendonk, it's the same on this map. When someone only plays like the enemy fuel, then this guy might even get the idea here, go through this and go here behind, and then the orange guy here loses everything. Orange guy's maybe here stuck in the castle defending because he's already struggling with holding this all. Like facing like cut off attacks from here and everything. So when this guy reads that this guy is dumb and only plays 30% of the map and only wants a fuel, so you give him the fuel and then you just go behind here and you just delete everything of orange guy. And then it's a GG game. And if it's not enough, then you just go here after this. Both players go here after this, and this guy then, who's like playing only this part of the map, is totally doomed as well and will lose all his units in the retreat. Yes. Once there's a fuel side, you always have to play through the middle. Otherwise, you will lose game. And I said, there is alternative strategy, of course, but alternative strategy needs good coordination, and alternative strategy is like you say, okay, we don't play castle, you play VP fuel, this guy plays middle only, defense like here, like without the fuel. And yeah, this would be alternative strategy, but it's super dumb to do that sort of on this map because you never see what's coming here. Everything is hidden because of the side blocks, and this guy can go in and big surprise attacks everywhere. And once he punches through this, and this guy punches through this, you can die like, I don't know where it's working now, you can die like super hard here. And yeah, the difference here is really this side block is really scary. This makes this side better than this side is a big minus, and this is an unbalanced map because of this scenario. Yep. And yeah, this can terribly go wrong. Like going for the enemy fuel, in general, those enemy fuel strategies can go terribly wrong always. It's risky to do such things. Playing on enemy fuel has like low success rate, I would say. It's like a worst case scenario when, I don't know, such things they are in this game when you have like a super strong player here, like S tier, and here's like a B tier player, then things like this can happen. But like let's say here's an A tier player and here's a B tier player. Then and it's a random game and the coordination of the enemy is not that good. Then you might play like this. But even then, you won't win when the ST play only plays like this. It's about when you crush this guy super hard and you can play like this in this triangle, like holding 50% of the map. Or like more than 50% of the map, then it can work. But those scenarios are only when there is an outmatch of skill here. Otherwise, it won't work. Really, when you have like a 20 match here and you have S tier players everywhere or same tier players, then this won't work, I think. It's very unlikely to work. Yep. And yeah, the only thing which works on this map is that you have from this side both units. It's something easy to get. Like when you have like same skill here, because this side is so much stronger, you can easily end up getting both fuels. Yeah. That's why often, especially when you play allies from the south side, and which are quite weak in the early game against Kübelwagen and such units, like allies from south side is really the worst. It's hard to deal with OKW here or MG anything because conscripts are weak in the beginning. Rifles are weak in the beginning. Like allies lack the timing in the beginning. Why even Pathfinders are not that good in the castle. Yeah. Only like Brits, especially with assault sections, can defend this well here. And then you're like way behind, and then this guy naturally has to help this guy, and then it might be that for 20 minutes of the game, this guy sort of plays this area, and orange guy can barely hold this. You end up often like this because the map is unbalanced, yeah. Especially as allies. Like if this guy doesn't do this, then you will end up pretty much the orange guy, yeah, whatever. Orange guy will end up like this, and this guy will, against the same class player, maybe end up like this. And then you won't have anything. Then you will have maybe ammo, but nothing else. And then when this guy is so deep back, once he gets the fuel, because he's so pressed, it means that probably this guy is doing this move. And then it can be a GG move, and this guy loses everything. And then this guy in a random match is gonna blame this guy for being trash, the orange guy, because this happens, but it's actually his fault. It's his own fault because this map is like this. Like, if he would have played like this, he wouldn't have get fucked here in the rear. Yes. Alright. I guess that sums it up. Yeah, this is what you do, as I told you. What if you harass early game cutoff of enemy? This is exactly what you do. That's how you play the game. This guy plays here. And this guy plays here. You see? You harass the cutoff. You just only send one unit here. You send one unit here, contest. Major force goes here around the middle to block here. And if this guy goes all here this way, then you go around. Yes, or you have two options, and you send one unit here, and so you confuse this guy. This guy will be in trouble. The green guy will be in trouble because he's very spread. It's like the same scenario like on Winnick and Donk like I had. You're super spread like this. Like once this guy starts to like sense like an echelon here to contest and maybe go from this to the fuel, and like the rest of the units here, you don't know where the enemy's coming as this guy here. So your units are like stuck here defending, and you don't have the knowledge where he's come, so they're not active, they're not really doing something, and then dangerous situations happen. This can also, like, this is why you have to go through the middle. This guy goes greedy, you punish him, and you can also cut off, like, no matter what you do in the early game, when you play like this on Eindhoven, it will create pressure and delete this guy out. Yep. And it will make huge trouble for the top team as well. And then usually this guy, when this guy plays smart like this, Like, yeah, not this, but like here. Then this guy is actually forced to put pressure into the middle. And then when this guy is forced to support his own teammate here, because this guy is playing correct, then the orange guy here has an easier time holding this. And might also push the ammo. As I said, maps like Koto games and 2v2, they are not static. Right? There are scenarios that because this guy goes through the middle, you get the enemy ammo here. And the scenario is also that the enemy gets this ammo. I have often scenarios when I play with Flap or someone good. Like, who knows that stuff. There are often scenarios like this. I lose ammo when I'm this player because I go here, no issue. Because of my actions or Flap's action here, you can grab the enemy ammo. It's not a static game, it's about making the right plays. Yeah. Always, yeah. How it's working. I don't know, man. Sometimes those colors don't want to do the thing, but as I said, the issue remains, as I said, to finish it off. Why is this map unbalanced? There's side block here. There's green cover everywhere here. And when you're the blue guy, you just position yourself here everywhere. And it's like hard to push someone out. Once the blue guy is stuck in here, it's impossible to kill the guy out of here. It's very hard. Like, you can only do that if this guy knows he has to play like this. And you have to play like this from the very beginning, sort of. Yep, because if you don't do it like this from the very beginning, then they might just grab this. And if you captured this once, then this guy just starts blocking everything through the middle. Then you have the scenario that they both defend just this, the top side. And when this happens, then it's almost GG. And if this is like already the case after like 5 minutes, right? The scenario is like this. Major force green guy is here. Major blue force is here. After 5 minutes, it's almost lost because what can you do then? This guy is like hitting an ambush here. This guy is hitting an ambush here. It's almost impossible to push this. It's super hard to push this. And then the only thing you can do is go this way and contest this. And what happens then is when the blue guy is not retarded, they both go in this. Then you're dead. Then it's GG. If this happens in this scenario, it's GG. And this is why this map is unbalanced. Yeah. If we just like mirror the thing, if we mirror like, I'm showing why this is the problem. If we mirror this, and let's say with the exact opposite scenario, this guy grabs this, and no, yes, this guy grabs this, right? And this guy holds this, and the blue guy does not succeed in this. And then the orange guy becomes also a major force here in the middle with the red guy, and they defend this together. This block, right? And first, you have always sight on this. There's not that much cover here, so the green guy always has an easier time punching through this. And then, since this is so easy to defend, you can always send something here and go around like this. And you can hide your movements because here's blocked line of sight. So it's really hard late to react like what's happening here for this guy. It's always tricky to react. And once you like do a feint like into this with like a Storm Pioneer or maybe something like this, and this guy thinks like, because he doesn't have intel on what's going on here, and this guy goes this way or something, goes back here, but the major force like Free Fusiliers, Kaiser build something, just goes through the middle behind this. And this is all open. This is all open. There's no side block. There's no green cover. You can pull back through. Then you wipe just everything of this guy. And this can happen anytime. Like, this guy just does this move. And it's super easy to kill everything. And this is why this is uneven map. There's only this side block here. And it's too far away. It's like, it's not like this, yeah. That's the problem. It's a slight difference of the map. Like actually there's 3 side blockers here on this side, right? Let's do it just with black. There's this side block, green cover, this is side block, green cover. Yeah, and then there's even some side blocking here, like 3 lines, and here you only have this and this. And as you can see, it's further. And this is like, well, this is an unsymmetric map. And as I said, also in green cover, there's not as much cover here. And the problem is, here's so much enemy green cover, like so much enemy green cover you can take always here to harass this. And if you come from this side here, there's not that much green cover you can harass the viewer. And like this is in 2 scenarios uneven poor designed map. I don't know why this is a preferred map in Tony games. I don't see it. This is not a balanced map. Unfortunately. Yes. And sadly, on the other hand, like the Koto map who isn't that good. And even though maps like Belgorod like seem like more symmetric and so on, they are still quite unbalanced unless you spam Pathfinders. Yes. MG42 on those open maps is like so strong. And only Pathfinders is like very good against that, or to some degree Brits with the sword sections, but on open map then you lack the late game and so on. Yeah, it's very hard for allies. It's very hard for Soviets to deal the first 5 minutes against an Ostay player. And OKW with Kübel just claps away Soviets as well pretty good. I mean, you can play like tier 1 and so on with penals, but it boomerangs back at you against OKW because there are counter builds against penals as well. So you have to play conscripts and conscripts. There's just lack of cover on Belgorod. There's lack of cover on this other winter Drö map, whatever you call it. There's lack of green cover to play conscripts effective and stuff like that. Like you just suffer in the early game. You suffer with rifles because the MG timing is too late, and you suffer against Kübel as well. There is no counter. Yeah, and even Brits, like, yeah, Brits can deal against OKW perfect on such maps, but once you have a scenario where like the Brit is against the Oster and the other guy, whatever it is against the OKW, you're pretty much fucked on those maps like Belgorod, because like there's certain faction scenarios on those open maps when your enemy is not like, if he's not weaker than you, then you cannot win. Yeah, there's too much open ground where like Kübel and MG and everything is way too strong, with Pioneer especially. Or like Sniper, Grand, like as I said, like we don't have to argue about that Brit cannot beat Oster. It's the worst encounter, it's the most unbalanced encounter in this game. You cannot do Brits versus Oster if Oster guy is good. Everyone knows that. It's in 1 versus 1, it's a straight death sentence as well. And then 2v2, it's even easier because in 1v1 as a Brit, you have a lot of space where you can go around and try to flank and you can make some plays. But in 2v2, it's so easy to defend your sniper as the Austria guy. It's undoable if the Austria guy is good, yeah. So there's too many matchups which don't work out on those open maps. It's like only Pathfinder builds work out. You need a Pathfinder player in your game, and then allies become sort of overpowered on those maps, sort of with Pathfinders. If you play like on Belgorod, like double Pathfinder build, yeah, then like this, then Axis is rather weaker. But once you want to play like somehow fair without those Pathfinder builds on those maps, then Axis becomes very overpowered, yeah. And that's kind of sad. And yeah, playing Pathfinders is very boring, so yeah. So you need a fair like faction setup. Like if the Brit is against the OKW, like maybe on the fuel side, and the Brit defends the fuel against OKW, then it's kind of balanced. If the Soviet faces the Austria on the defending, then you can play in Belgorod, something like that, or like the US. But yeah, once you have like scenario, Brit defense against Austria, the fuel, something like that, or Soviet defense against OKW and Belgorod, the fuel, then that's absolutely unbalanced. Yeah, yeah, same for US without Pathfinders defending the fuel against. It doesn't matter if it's OKW or Austria. It's like first 5 minutes, you won't be able to hold it against a good player. And then you're already so far behind into the game, it's hard to make comeback against very good players. Yes. Alright. I guess enough of this now. It's nice that my game just bug splattered like 3 times while explaining this, because I was in the main menu and that's how my game works. Please repeat once again, yes. Sure. Yeah, I'm kind of sick of always those discussions, and yeah, with Falco you have such discussions too often with many players, because I don't know, they don't understand the team play. When you're too much of a random player and you never really figured it out with how competitive games work, then competitive teams, when you do those mistakes, like I said, they just rip you apart on those maps. They just absolutely will annihilate you. And the skill gap is then not the mechanics, it's just how you play the game. How you team play, yeah. Get more RAM, man. F 32 gigabyte. I think. It's the problem lies with the game or some settings I have. Yeah, sure. Maybe I've even 64, who knows? I'm not sure anymore. I think it's 32. I mean, I'm not really like an angel here as well, because I like doing that shit as well. I'm a greedy man. I like going for on back road for the hard fuel and I get punished for it. It happens very often, yeah. When you might lose a game. I mean, it's fun playing like very aggressive on the enemy fuel, but as I said, you can do that for fun when like there's huge skill gap, but I wouldn't do that against very good opponents, or I shouldn't do it, yeah. I wouldn't do it. If you do that against like White Dude, Artavik, whoever, like teams, then you can just hit slash L. That's what gonna happen. Like, it's just free win for them. They're just gonna laugh about you, how retarded you play, and cash an easy win, yeah. Exactly, and yeah, as I said, and once you have an unbalanced setup on those maps, and there's hardly something you can do about it. Anyway. Yeah, Finisher, for example, also likes to lock down one side too hard. Like this game, very static. For too many players, and I also like sometimes being static, but yeah. In this Eindhoven map, even when you're on the top side, which is the fortunate side, and once you start camping, there's the top VP and that fuel on the open. Eindhoven, right? And the enemy starts making plays like only through the middle and coming through the castle, and your teammate doesn't react, and you also will lose the game. That's one of the other big mistakes player make in games, yeah. Yeah, I guess meanwhile it's nothing to do with searching, right? So maybe I should just show that as well. That's another interesting thing. More lessons. Guess it's a splendid time to watch. You wanna learn something, like if you have a very static player here, even you have the fortunate side, and the guy just camps here in this vicinity. Like I had a match like this, I think, with Finisher. And you are supposed to like hold, like you need 2 VPs to win, right? And like the other player is playing like whatever here. And the other guy, the other team is an arranged team and has like very good team play, and they don't play static. So what this player is gonna do is like, he's gonna harass this with very few units. And this guy is just also everyone stays very close to the middle. So what you do is, when you want to win games, you always win games through the middle. So both players have major force here in the middle. And this guy then is really in trouble because the orange guy always contests this, but switches really hard here. And this guy also switches very hard going here, but also here. This is how you team play. You either go this scenario, or you go this scenario. But once you have a static player who's like focusing just on holding this, you will lose. Because you also have to play unstatic, like when this guy pushes hard here, and the orange guy goes here, and this team here notices, this guy is static, this one, right? Then they will feint attacks here, maybe even together, and then just go with everything very big here. And then this guy is 2 versus 1. And when you are like very bad positioned, or you notice like if I'm this and I notice they are playing like this, then I cannot contest any of this really, or at least not this. And then I have to go always back here because I'm getting, there is high risk that you get flanked here, like that this guy makes this move. And then you lose all your units, so you have to stay very defensive. And thus, you will never have any VP here. Right? And once you're very defensive, and they doubled you and you're in your base, then those guys will just move on and go like this. And then this guy is also doomed, right? Or they go back. And since I'm here so far back and defensive because it's too dangerous to go here, or I'm just sitting here, then both guys will, the next strategy will be, until they went here, feint this way, and then hard turn this. And take out this guy. Which is too stuck here. Because he's playing static. And when this guy, like, Finisher did, I think, in a match like this, tells them me, yeah, take this, why you don't take your VP. If you do this, because this is an arranged team, and you move out of this zone, and this guy is a static player, and you go here, right? Then they are just waiting for this, because they just go behind you, like this, and you lose everything. Or they might even go like this, to keep traction here, that you try to get the VP. And the other guy goes full in here. And if this guy is always too static, because he plays too far in this area, because this guy feints, then he will always be too late. And then, as this player starts getting wiped, and then you will lose the game. Yeah. So what you have to do as the green guy is, you cannot play static too far on the edge of the map. You also have to play mobile. The middle and your side. And if you sometimes lose your VP, that's not too bad. Because then you maybe have the middle VP. Then you maybe have the VP in the castle. Like, you can switch and trade out all VPs all the time. Yeah, and good players, good teams will always contest everything. They will always use the full scale of the map.
Orders, lads. Off we go. Right then. Orders from Mr. Right, rest so.
You should never abandon, like, a side, really.
Infantry squad trained and ready to go.
And if it's just for, like, walking frontally into someone and somehow confirming that he has to leave units there, because once he leaves there are more units than you, and you can use the other units somewhere else and outmatch the opponent and take over the middle. And you win always through the middle. Because through the middles you can make plays. Getting behind people, flanking people, taking out units, ending games.